Hello, everybody. I am Gonsalo Paz. I am from Argentina. I am a professor of international relations and comparative politics. I am really very happy of being here in St. Petersburg. I want to thank the organizers for this kind invitation that I really appreciate. It's a great opportunity to meet new friends and to share experience and to try to understand our different visions of the world. Today, I want to share some comments about the relation between politics and culture. This is a great issue, but a complex issue. In the origin of modern contemporary politics, we think about Max Weber, one of the most important thinkers, that he really want to make the argument that culture may explain development or even the lack of development. Everybody understands the importance of culture and the complex relation with politics. In 1963, Almond and Berba, two American scholars, wrote a book called The Civic Culture, in which they try to explain political institutions based on the political views that the society have. And it was really a pioneering effort, a very important effort. A scholar called it Banfield, before in 1958, he wrote a wonderful book about the politics in Italy, in southern Italy, tried to explain the lack of development of democracy in this part of Europe due to the cultural traits of the society of southern Italy. Much later, really, Robert Putnam wrote a wonderful book called Making Democracy Work, that he compared how people believe about politics in southern Italy with northern Italy. It was kind of a perfect experiment. And through the different cultures of northern Italy and southern Italy, he explained different outcomes, different results in politics, the impact in politics. So just I want to mention these authors, but to make the point of the complex and important relations between culture and politics. Everybody understands this, but we need to keep doing research on these relations that are crucial for our contemporary world. It is also notable that we have been reflecting also about the connection between culture and international relations. The ancient thinker know this really very well. But however, contemporary academic international relations have a big problem trying to understand the connection between culture and international relations. But there have been very important attempts, but again, it's quite difficult to transform, in academic terms, culture into an independent variable that is in a cause of international relations, that we can manage like in a laboratory to try to explain very specific events. But there have been efforts that are important. One book that was widely quoted internationally a few years ago, it was the book of Samuel Huntington, called it The Clash of Civilizations. So he tried to explain the world not only in terms of countries, but mostly in terms of civilizations, of major civilizations, and he really believed that this was where the limits in the world were really are. And this idea has been really very important to understand contemporary international relations. We know the impact of terrorism, for example, in recent years, and so this has been an explanation that we have been thinking about for a very long time. There have been another debate that I think is very important, that is the debate about globalization and how in many parts of the world there are a group of people that believe that globalization is just Americanization, right? Other people believe that Americanization is part of globalization. Another important debate that we have been witness in recent decades, it's a debate about a specific set of Asian values. And there have been a lot of discussion about this. And of course, the discussion about whether these Asian values were good for development or not, and whether this specific set of Asian values were good or not for democracy, or that these Asian values were the cradle of a more authoritarian style of government. This is another complex discussion. Some people say that Asia is truly very complex, and we cannot talk freely about Asian values. That if there is any common denominator, the yardstick must be really very low. So this is still an area of concern, but the focus of the conversation. Whether these values may produce this effect that already mentioned, development, economic development, and also more democratic societies, or even if these Asian values really are consistent and are stable. This is another big problem, and that is that culture keeps changing. So in different eras and in different places, culture changes. It's never static. This is an issue that we need to think about. Let me try to wrap up these very brief comments about some of the relations between culture and politics with a reflection about the role of culture in sports and particularly in the international events that I think that are important. We are in a world that frequently we have major international events that have been part of our reality in recent years. And here in Russia, there will be the World Championship of Soccer next year. Since the beginning of the Olympic Games, there was a relationship between the Olympic Games and international relations of this time. The Olympic Games was a pause between a period of war. War was stopped just for playing, just for the beauty of the games. So this was the importance that the Asians attached to sports. And it is important also to understand that sometimes the sport had been a replacement of competition, of political competition, and even of war. We can think about many examples of this. Think, for example, about the connection between the Falklands War, the Malvinas War in 1982, and the two famous goals scored by Diego Maradona 4 years later in a World Championship, in which a whole country really believed that this was a kind of second war. A match became a second war. So sports are now embedded in the identity of the countries, and are really very important. Let me mention, to finish these very brief reflections, another comment about the coming World Championship. It is important for the world to know Russia much better. Russia is an important part of our world, and the World Championship will be a great opportunity for the world to focus on Russia. And it will be also a great opportunity for Russia to open to the world and to let the world to come into Russia. It will be wonderful for the Russians to share the extraordinary friendship that the warm heart of the Russians are able to share. I wish the best for next year. Thank you so much.